Welcome to Power Up, the podcast that uncovers the unique challenges women leaders face today. Join your hosts, Nat and Kristen, as we dive into the tough topics and provide actionable insights you can apply right now. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Last week, we talked about energy drains, decision fatigue, task switching, and chronotype mismatch, which effectively is just recognizing that as individuals, and especially men v. women, we have very different cycles of energy throughout the day, throughout the month. So we thought we would do an entirely other episode on how to kind of boost our energy. We thought there was definitely another ep in there.
Yeah, it's nice to focus on all the things that are wrong, but it's much nicer to focus on all the ways that we can maybe reclaim some energy. So we thought there's actually a bunch of different ways as well. One of them is writing down what chronotype mismatches are so that we can remember the definition of it when we come in to talk about it a week later, just as a hot tip for anyone who's planning to do that in the coming weeks.
I know that really sucked my energy having to go back and research our last step. But do you know what I wanted to do, Nat? Because I think probably when we were young and really energetic, we might have classified ourselves as extroverts, but I thought it might be interesting. And now
I
you
never
call yourself
did.
an introvert.
I never did.
Oh, sorry, you've always been an introvert. Sorry,
Yep.
sorry.
I've always known myself what I truly am. Although I've got to say, I went to a really cool, it was a party for a comms company last week, and they had a absinthe fountain where you put a little bit of absinthe in a cup and then you drip the water on this sugar cube. I have been high energy ever since then. A few of my friends are like, "I think we need to give you some absinthe more often."
Wow. Okay, noted. Okay, noted. Give us tips on where to get that. Okay, well, let's take a test. Let's take a test. I thought I researched some common questions to take some tests as to if you are an introvert, an extrovert, or an ambivert, which, probably
How do
many
we
of us
know
fall
if
into.
we are?
Granted,
Like, how do we know? Like, if we do this quiz,
depending on
is
how
it
you answer.
but is it like 5 out of 6 answers we answer one way, or is it just like if you answer one do we know how we judge this?
I am going to surprise you. It's not a trick question, it's not a tricky quiz. I'm gonna surprise you. And the
It's just we
reason we're doing
sometimes run
this,
into pickles with trying to measure things like this, and we're like,
we're not
"Everyone's
gonna
an extrovert." Oh, no, our maths is wrong.
no, our maths isn't gonna be wrong, and we're not gonna overanalyze, but all we're gonna I what we're trying to do is recognize that when we boost our energy, it actually kind of does matter if you're an introvert and an extrovert because we gain energy from different things, yeah. So that's what we're gonna do.
As an
6
introvert, I understand this.
You hide under the covers all weekend. Okay. So quick 6 questions. If you're listening along, please answer these as well. Number 1,
Just
when
again, do they need to for the introverts amongst us? Well, I'm just thinking, like, if I'm listening to this while I'm out for a walk, am I like, do I have to note down my answers? Do I just need to remember A or B? Do I count? Like, how do I know after listening to this what I need to remember from my
just
answers?
remember A's and B's. Remember your A's and B's.
How many A's you answered and how many B's you answered?
Okay.
Correct.
When you're
Correct.
Can we start?
Yes.
When you're feeling low energy, what actually restores you? A, being around people energizes me. B, being alone recharges me. And let's just talk about first thing that comes to mind.
Should I answer? I'm 100% B. 1,000% B.
Okay, I'm gonna
What about
say
you?
A. A.
Extrovert.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 2. How do you prefer to process new information? A, by talking it through out loud. B, by thinking about it quietly first.
Well, I can't lie about this. I'm an A. I'm an
I I was
A.
great. And I'm a B. Okay. Is your
Got
ideal
2
work
fingers up, 1 on each column.
is your ideal work environment A, there's a buzz and collab that is happening? B, you can focus sorry. Sorry. In your ideal work environment, A, there's a buzz and a collaboration happening, and B, you can focus without interruptions.
A
Which one
hard
are you?
B. Hard
You're
B.
you're focused without interruptions. Yeah, I'm a B now as well. I used to have been A, but I'll go B now as well. So, okay. I got it. Next question. When you're excited about something, A, you immediately want to share it with others. B, you prefer to enjoy the moment privately.
This is actually a hard one because 'cause I'm 50-50, but I'm gonna say slightly more A.
Yeah, I do get calls from you quite often. I'm gonna
But then
say A as
sometimes
well.
you are like, "I can't believe you didn't tell me this," and I'm like, "Yeah, sometimes I like to share process my stuff privately."
You're like,
I
"That's
think
right."
I'm a
Well,
little bit
the fact
50-50.
that they said, "I can't believe." But anyway.
I'm doing 2 peace signs. I'm 50-50, which probably does indicate a little bit about me.
Okay.
What are you? What are you?
Yeah, no, mine is I wanna share it with others. 100%, 100%. Yeah, so I am definitely, I'm 2 and 2 as well, 2 and 2 as well. Okay, your natural communication style is A, you think out loud and you process externally, and B, you think first and then speak.
This feels like the same as an earlier question, but
I
I'm gonna go
know.
A. I
I think
process
it's natural
externally.
communication, but you're right. It's like process it. Yeah, it's similar. Great. I'm going to say A for this one as well, actually. Yeah. Great. Social energy for you works like A, being with people fills my tank, and B, being with people empties my tank, even if I enjoy it. B. Great. And I'm gonna go A. So I am leaning more towards extrovert. And you? You're split down the
My
middle, you're
maths.
an ambivert.
I'm in the middle. I'm bang in the
You're
middle.
you're ambivert, you're ambivert. I wonder as we age, do you think it changes as we age? What would you have if you'd done this when, 10 years ago, what would have come up, do you think?
I think exactly the same. Like, I feel like people used to think I was an extrovert, but they forgot that I lived alone, and so how much time I had to have no one else there that I'd go and hide. So that meant when I was out, I could be loud and energetic, but I always knew I could have, I don't know, 15 hours plus each day without anyone else around me.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I've noticed since being in a relationship that I have to, like, budget for that downtime, and even if it is something as simple as having to say goodnight to someone, that is enough to not be able to be 100% off, which means it makes me drained. Isn't that funny? It's like I'm so used to having that total downtime.
Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, well, Nat, you're an ambivert.
I'm unsurprised. And are you an extrovert?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I am. But I have noticed a big shift, with my age in terms of the energy that I have, and therefore I actually have to do more introverted things than I used to. So, I used to maybe hide under my covers during holidays and just rip through books. Um, maybe like just a handful of times a year where I have to do that almost every weekend now. Not books now, it's Netflix, but I find that I have to recharge a lot more often in that way, and that's probably an introverted way, but I am super recharged after chatting with people or at one of our events or after a thing, like I that dopamine hit energizes me as opposed to saps me. Granted, I crash, but, like, in the moment, it's really good.
I also think I've been given this advice before of like, even none of these things are, science in the sense of it's 100% accurate 100% of the time. And I think, especially when it comes to people energizing you, two things that I've heard. One is like on a Friday night, there is a very, very small group of people that I'm interested in seeing. And that's because I can relax around them. I know them inside out. I can be 100% myself. I don't have to be on, which I think is probably where you sit too in the weekends of like, when you have to be on all the time, it's not so much that I don't get energy from people, it's that I don't wanna be around where I have to be, like, making an effort. I just don't wanna make an effort with people, but I don't mind being around them. And then sort of vice versa, once someone said to me once, you get energy from being around people, but you don't like it when you're around people that you don't get energy from. And I was like, "Oh, that's another really good point." Like, I will come home exhausted from, like and I don't do this anymore, but back in the day, if I said yes to, like, going out for a dinner with people that I didn't really wanna go out for dinner with, I'd come home exhausted, and my friend was like, "Yeah, it's because you're bored by them, like, they're not your people." And so I feel like all of these things are it's a nice guideline, but there's nuance in it as well.
Yeah, being on and making the effort can be exhausting. I remember my very short dating life. I didn't date for that long.
How long did you date for, like, a week? How long did you
I
date
think it was
for?
a few months. I think there was a year of my life where I was single and dating. I seem to
I
just have
can
long-term
only imagine
boyfriends.
dating Kristen. It sounds exhausting already because you would have been like, "I know my goal. I'm gonna be going out. I've got a strategy behind it. I'm on. I'm getting it done. I'm locking in a marriage." Is that how you approached it?
No, I don't think so. I think it was, I do like having partners because I enjoy, adventures, but I don't think I
Oh,
had
yeah, no, I
marriage.
I don't doubt that, but I mean more like your goal. You as soon as you have a goal, you're 110% gonna like, if I'm single and I need to date, I'm gonna date like crazy. That's you, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wasn't you're right in that I was going through dating, like, not wanting to have a casual relationship, definitely.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
partners
yeah,
where I
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I didn't wanna not necessarily marriage, but I didn't wanna share like, I didn't wanna do a casual thing. I wanted a climbing partner or, whatever, all
Yeah.
that. Yeah. What do you do? Have you climbed Everest? Nope, you're out. You're out.
Out. You don't meet the criteria.
Yeah, like, "You smoke? You're out." I did. I was I I was pretty strict. But
And
I
that is
do
why
recall
Kristen
that
was only single for a short time because she had her goal and she cut all the non-Everest climbers and she found
no,
Kyle.
done. Yes, yes, yes. I was like, "Right, put a ring on it." But I recall being sapped by energy because I found them to have really poor communication skills. I had to lead all the conversations, and I know that's a thing. And to be the one that was always drawing information out of them, I found exhausting. And when you're getting to know someone and you're the one doing all the work, what a drag. So yeah, I found dating exhausting.
Well, and actually, I know we're going to go into very soon energy restorers, but I think let's merge that into the first one because I don't think we've got it on the list, but I think it's actually a really critical one. Spending time around people who drain you. And I think being really aware, if you are someone who has a finite amount of energy to give, you want to be around people who are contributing to the energy, not just taking energy. And I think dating anyone who's dated, especially using internet dating apps, has probably experienced this sense of I have asked 10 questions. I now feel like I'm interviewing them for a job because they are not giving anything back to me. I'm putting in all the effort. I'm bringing all the conversation. Like, let's make sure that we are step one for energy restorers, being really intentional about who we spend our time with and that they're contributing energy to us too. Because I've noticed that even outside of dating, it's something I don't do so much anymore. If I have that gut feel, like it's like when we talk about saying no and saying yes, my gut feel when someone wants to hang out with me is like not, yes, I'm so excited. I now stop and go, why not? And sometimes it's because of life stages and stuff, but sometimes it's because I'm like, I find they drain my energy. And now I just try not to put myself in those situations.
Yeah, yeah, it's a freedom of getting a little bit older and braver, isn't it? Just to start to cull those types of people in your life. Um, let's
And it's
talk
not
about
even necessarily a type of person, it's just like your dynamic drains your energy, you know?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chemistry is a thing. Absolutely. Let's talk about energy restorers and adding and what has worked for you because I know we've been playing with our energy levels since the start of Power Suit and finding out what works for us. And for me, I'll just share my first one is that I found that adding back in a morning commute, we work from home. I work, we are often sitting at our respective desks or couches or whatever all day and there's no break. Well, for me, there wasn't really a break between waking up and I don't know, there wasn't a big space between, like, getting ready for work because that was really no longer a thing. So what I found, and gosh, it took me a year to get into this, was that by walking the dog before work in the morning, was a real energy boost to me, and it set me up and just getting I love being outside. I used to surf, but takes a little bit too long now midweek, so that has to stay on the weekends, but for the just getting in the bush was amazing. It was a win-win with the dog as well, needing to get out. But for me, that was really important. And then I saw this research that there's an actual fake commute revolution, and people are doing it, those that are hybrid and remote workers, because we've got this liminal space that happens. It's like a mental airlock between home and work. And just by doing that, you transition from being home into work mode. So that's my thing, and that is a real energy boost.
I love that because I think it's is it a full stop at either end of the day? And I think what happens if you don't have it is you are still kind of taking on the load of work, like, it's still on your mind. It hasn't been, like, full stopped and cleared out, ready for a mental break, so I really like that. The really expensive house that I wanted to buy a couple of weeks ago, side note, not a chance, but it did have a beautiful office space, and I was like, "Imagine having a house we've just got a defined office space that's quite far away from, like, the kitchen and living areas, and I was like, "This is our dream," but then we were gonna fight over who got to work in the office, so, probably wasn't gonna work. Well, obviously, I've sorry, go
Wasn't it
ahead.
gonna be our podcast studio?
Yeah, it was gonna be the podcast studio as well. It's just like, you know how you when you see a dream house that you can't afford, you start trying to justify every single use you could have for every single room so that you're like, "Well, if we recorded it as a podcast studio and then we also have an office and then we have" maybe it's justifiable. Obviously, I've already listed my first one, absinthe, highly recommend. No. My one sort of continues on from your one, which is permission to rest without guilt. And I notice this all the time, and I feel like we are all guilty of perpetuating it. This busyness culture, the I'm so busy. "Oh, how's life? Busy. It's chaos. I've had a big week. Ugh," all of those sort of the language we use indicates we all take some sense of pride and importance in being busy. Like it is something that we hold on to and wear like a badge of honor. I feel like all of us do, even when we talk about it not being a badge of honor. And so I think that what that leads to is that the idea of resting and taking a break and having time that is non productive, it has no purpose to it other than joy or relaxation. We don't value that because we look at that and go, oh, that's not fitting into my sense of busyness and purpose, or I feel guilty because I'm not achieving anything and I should be folding the washing, or I should be cooking dinner, or I should be doing more work. And the last it was probably about 5 years ago, and I think it was when well, wasn't when we met, but I feel like I was dating at the time. Gosh, this is a dating episode. And I remember I was so furious because everyone always be like, "What are your hobbies?" And you said, "We don't have hobbies. We like to work and we like to watch Netflix." And ever since then, I have really embraced permission to rest, and I have no guilt, and I will proudly share this with anyone. My job tonight or my goal tonight is to do nothing. And I've noticed that actually with the rise of programs like Love Island, I've noticed more and more people proudly talking about watching junk TV because it is their absolute downtime and they are very happy and accomplished because they have created space in their life to do nothing and recharge. And so I feel like that is incredibly important. My caveat to that though is I have noticed over the last couple of months, like we've been trying to figure out energy levels and how to maintain this marathon, not a sprint, starting a startup. And I've noticed that if I do too much of that, I don't feel rested anymore. I feel like I've wasted my weekend or that I haven't quite had that mental break because it's just been like blobbing. So I feel like that is something that I have to do in shorter, like it might be one afternoon, or now I tend to find I will never schedule anything for a Saturday morning because if I can just have that total downtime or Friday night, I'm recovered and I can get up and do fun, interesting outdoors, whatever things, but I have to give myself permission to just not do anything for that little patch.
Yeah, I think it's probably because 'cause you're an ambivert, you need both. Okay, naps. Naps don't work for me. I always feel groggy and yuck after them. Would love to hear how naps make you feel because turns out that for most, naps are like the ultimate recharger. And again, the Spaniards, I think we spoke about the last episode, was they're onto something with the whole siesta. And I think that a research found that allowing workers to take a midday nap, and I remember all these sleep pods and all of these Silicon Valley tech organizations started to do this, and they were probably because they were working like 20 hours a day, but
Keep them in
but they
the
had
office, keep them in the
they're
office.
like, "Stay in the office, we'll feed you, you can sleep." But allowing people to take a midday nap increased their effectiveness by as much as 50% of what a wage increase would do. So the motivation that you get from a wage increase was the same as a nap, which is so funny. And NASA found that pilots, I mean, this isn't really surprising, but just 20-minute naps, their pilots were 50% more alert and more proficient than those pilots that didn't nap. So that's, I think, what is it called, the cat nap? But for me, I always feel like garbage after them, but I know it works for people.
I think there's a couple of things in there. I would say my understanding is wage increases don't actually increase motivation anyway. So maybe that is like neither of them is very motivational because people just expect, you get a salary. It's not necessarily a motivator. The reason I agree with this is because I think dangerous driving is when you haven't had enough sleep. So the opposite should also be true that the optimal amount of sleep you have would make you more alert and safer on the roads and therefore life. I also think in the Middle Ages, or maybe it was early or part of human history, we actually did sleep shorter bursts more regularly, I think. Like, I actually think that was a thing that people weren't sleeping 8 to 9 hours. They might have been doing a 5 hour and a 4 hour or something like that because, of how we didn't have lighting and all of that sort of stuff. So I feel like humans biologically might be designed to sleep slightly differently than we do, but because we invented electricity and you can now stay awake very late, we've ended up with kind of stuffing up our own sleeping cycles. I think there's also rules to your point about being groggy. There is a rules around how long you should sleep for. If you I think it's like even 15 minutes or something. If you go too long, you do feel groggy, but if you can just get that perfect cat nap, I think you can feel better. But I'm not normally a napper, but I will every now and again. I think for me, if I feel really tired, and that's either I've had like a lot of big nights out or late nights, and I'm just finding my brain's a bit scrambled, or back in the day when I used to run a lot. Sometimes I'd go out for like a 20-kilometer run and then I'd come home and an hour later I would just not be able to keep my eyes open and I'd have a nap and I was fine. So I just feel like I'm happy to listen to my body on that front and just do it when I really feel like it. But I think you have to keep it short, otherwise you do get quite groggy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, who
I always
knows?
set a timer for mine. I set like an alarm because otherwise I don't know if you feel this. I get so nervous about missing the rest of the day. Like even if it's a weekend nap, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like if I set my alarm for
yeah,
like half an hour later, then I can just relax and go, "Oh, I'll wake up in half an hour. Fine."
yeah, yeah, pressure's off. I let's chat about some energy boosters for introverts and extroverts. And this is just, I suppose, common knowledge, but speaking as an extrovert first, social interactions and group activities. I feel like this is an important one as you age and you don't want to go out as much and you make up excuses and all of a sudden you're too tired. I think it's really important for extroverts to go, I will feel better if I go and do this, if I know that I get energy from that. And I have never walked away from an event. Very rarely have I walked away from an event and regretted it. It usually gives me a boost. So that's the one for extroverts. If there's something going on, a networking event or dinner with friends, and you've got the time, and I would suggest that you just do it for an energy boost, especially if you just need a little midwinter pick me up.
I love it too. We were actually talking about this the other day because two of my friends are extroverts, but they went to something recently. And as they were driving there, they were both like, I really can't be bothered. But they'd made the commitment. So they went and they had a fabulous night. And I was like, it's probably like exercising. Often the getting off the couch and going out into the cold is the hardest part. And once you're there, you really enjoy it. And you just have to remind yourself. Um, it's funny on my list, which I think you've put together for introverts, one-on-one conversations. I hate one-on-one conversations, and I think it's because one-on-one conversations, there's like, I feel like I have to take on the energy for that. Like I'm like, if they are one syllable answer or have a lot of gaps, I find it exhausting.
You know what?
So
I'm gonna clarify that for a sec, because this is what I think I see happening at networking events, and we've talked about this before, is you will get into deep conversation with one person and get energy from that, and you'll walk away buzzed because you get to know, so I think that's what this one is you draw a lot of energy from having a deep conversation and finding out all sorts of weird and wacky facts about someone, where I get energy from flitting around. So I think that's what
that's
this one
probably
is.
true.
Yeah.
That is probably true. I think the other thing with the one-on-one conversations is again recognizing who is an energy drainer for me and who's an energy additive. But I actually have found true introverts do love a one-on-one. Like they what my extroversion side is the side that makes me feel responsible for keeping the conversation going and not enjoying the gaps and feeling like I need to have 10 questions lined up for one word answers. Whereas true introverts do not worry. It's not something that crosses their mind because they're quite comfortable with all the pauses and breaks and So I feel like that probably is a true introvert thing. It's just that I'm halfway. So I enjoy a good conversation one on one, but I always have a slight nerves before it. Like, am I gonna have to really hold a conversation? I find it slightly stressful.
And then it's like, "I'm just gonna go to the toilet, the washroom." Okay, I'm gonna combine an introvert and an extrovert activity, and that is a nature walk because that is a brilliant one, just getting outside into nature, and, a one-on-one conversation and talking through problems with others. And so I like to process problems with others and thoughts in my head, and so I will pop my AirPods in, I will call my friend in Canada, and I will do that while I'm walking in the bush in the mornings, and so that is something that boosts my energy in the mornings.
I love that. I did that with fishing in the weekend, just sitting on a beach and, like, getting some bites, got some bites for anyone who's a fish person, but just having that, like, sitting out in nature and just, like, I think it takes the pressure off again. You're looking out, you've got a different view, yeah, I think also with walking, you kick up all the bacteria and it's good for you. The other one that I'm starting to experiment with, and I haven't really been a huge person for this before, I actually think you've started thinking about this a lot more too, is the food and vitamins that we take in. Things like alcohol, I mean, we're becoming more and more aware as a society that it's poison. I love the odd drink, AKA absinthe. But I'm definitely drinking a lot less these days because I feel the poison. I feel the poison. And on the flip side, a friend of mine told me I should really consider magnesium and vitamin B. Not a recommendation, but just to start to experiment with what vitamins might be, like getting really clear on what deficiencies you might have or what things can maybe boost your energy or help support your immune system and all that sort of stuff. So haven't acted on it yet, but am very keen to start to get an idea of where I may be able to get a little bit of an energy boost from.
I agree, and I go straight to food initially because I am a person that buys vitamins, and I think I'm gonna have this really smart regime, and then if I were to go open my pantry right now, there's half a pack of matcha because like, matcha is disgusting, but everyone's drinking it, and it's so good for you, but there's half a pack in there. There's half a pack of matcha, there's half a pack of bone broth because that's another thing where I do it for a week, and I can't build the habit because it's disgusting, and then there's half a pack of green like condensed green, juice, like the powder stuff. Yeah, disgusting. Because 'Cause I'm like, if I don't wanna eat broccoli, I just wanna, like, drink my greens. So, forget it, I'm more of a food person. So now I know if there's a vitamin that I need, I'll just look through my foods. So, 5 food groups that I learned through perimenopause that are scientifically proven to boost our energy for those listening with perimenopause. Number 1, greens. That is a thing, which is why I tried powder. Now I'm like, "Nah, I just have to eat spinach or
Goop,
broccoli."
powder, matcha, pills,
But much is
anything
like,
to avoid broccoli.
oh my gosh, okay, so greens is number 1, yogurt probiotics or probiotics is number 2, that's an important thing. Seeds is important, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, that kind of thing, nuts, walnuts, that kind of thing. Protein, 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 and I think it was omega-3s, so the fatty acids that you get in fish, and lean protein, so you could do kind of fish and lean chicken, or no doubt there's lots of options as veggies as well, or possibly vegan. Maybe people can comment and reply and help us, but yeah, those are food groups that I think tick a lot of boxes for women, and I have noticed, a big, boost in that stuff. Oh, chia seeds is great for omega-3s, that's the one that I've incorporated as well.
And I
Yeah.
feel like we all know this. We all talk about food and exercise, and because exercise is obviously the other big one. The more unfit you are, the more tired you are. And I've noticed this when I really dropped the ball for a while and then have started to pick it up. And I do think when you are fit, you are more energetic. And it's worth saying because it's fact. But I feel like we all know this, and sometimes it's the tiny habits thing that we preach at Power Suit. It's how do you take those facts and turn them into something you're actually going to do, which is why when I first started exercising again, it was 10-minute walk or 5 minutes that I consistently did. And now I notice I'm wobbling because I'm up at like 30 minutes jog, which is amazing. And I look back and go, wow, that's amazing progress from just consistency. But 30 minutes is a gap that I often do not create for myself in a workday. And then I don't do the 10 minutes regardless. So I think I have to go back to I can do 10 minutes if I need to, but don't just not go because I don't have the full half hour or 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
anything else that is just
Yeah,
like a really obvious or
I'm gonna do
non-obvious.
one more that's really simple, and this we talk a lot about this with Power Suit with, like, dressing. If you're going into an interview or if you've got an important call or if you've got a presentation or something, there is something to be said for putting on whatever your power suit is, like feeling incredible in what you're in. And that can be an amazing energy booster. And it's same if you're hybrid or remote worker, but there's this thing called enclosed cognition. And it's the same thing as maybe that fake commute, is that actually changing your clothes can also give you an energy boost because your brain goes, ah, I'm in whatever this outfit is, so it's go time for whatever this activity is. It's probably the same as waking up and putting on your exercise wear because you're like, that's the one step closer to the door and your brain is in that mode. So there is absolutely something with energy and clothing. Keep that in mind and notice it.
One thing that drains my energy is all these scientific labels for stuff that is like, "Just put on good clothes and you'll feel good." We don't need to call it enclosed cognition. I'm like, "Come on, science, make it nicer, make it more plain English." But I agree, or a pop of lipstick. I've noticed recently I've stopped putting makeup on. I actually do you know what I did? Lost all my lipsticks. I need to find some more, and I need to have them by a drawer or something. Because if I'm going into a video call, just putting a pop of red lipstick on immediately makes me feel good, or it could be some bold earrings. It doesn't have to be a lot of effort, and it doesn't have to be about beauty. It's just something that makes you feel good.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So this week's action for our listeners is to try one energy booster that matches your personality type and not what you wish you were, but your actual personality type and
Kind of
track if it
pointed
works.
remark at me.
Yeah. And track if it works. Give it a go and let us know what works. And
I
that's
wanna
it.
hear everyone who's started shooting absinthe.
Who
Top
knew?
tip.
Noted. I don't think I've even, I might have tried it in Greece way back in
I only had
2005.
the smallest amount. I can't imagine it's still working 5 days later, but hey.
Thanks, everyone. Check out powersuit.com and send us any topics that you want us to wrestle with. And we hope you're feeling well and energized, and we'll chat with you next time. Bye.
Bye.